who is an Adobe evangelist. I think that's your proper title, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, I know.
Isn't that right? Is that right? That's how Dom always introduces himself.
Sounds a bit extreme, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. An
It does.
education evangelist. Yes.
Yes, that's right. Very good. So you will live up to that name today. You're going to be talking all about web pages and portfolios for us here in Aberdeenshire. So welcome. I've made you a presenter, so I'll just hand over to you, and I'll
Brilliant.
come back and join the meeting in a wee bit.
Great. Thanks, Julia. Thanks very much. Yeah, welcome, guys. Happy New Year to you. Welcome. If this is your first session having a look at Adobe Express, welcome back. If you've seen some of the other things that we've done, or if you've been along to any of our other calls, or if you made it to Meldrum Academy to meet us when we came up to see you in person. So today we're looking at a specific kind of facet within Express, which is building web pages. And then with the same skill set as building web pages, we're also going to look at how easy it is to make digital portfolios using Express. So, I mean, if this is your very first session on Express, that's absolutely fine. We're going right from the beginning of this process. But it's worth you bearing in mind that this is just one tiny little component of what you can do in Express. And maybe out of all the things you can do in Express, maybe it's kind of the least arty and creative of them. It's quite functional, if you know what I mean. So we're not really going to be looking at the other things that you can do in Express, but I will mention them just in case you're unaware. So you can see on my desktop there, we got the tiles, the colored tiles. So there's the big tile on the left-hand side is always going to change. That's kind of seasonal. But these 4 tiles on the right-hand side, these kind of stay the same. And these are the 4 main activities we've got within Express. There are some more things as well that are kind of tucked away in different menus. But you know, the starting point on Express, if we were just starting from scratch with Express, and somebody told me, right, tell me about Express, I'd probably start with the green tile where we create graphics. Okay, so any work that you do around posters, infographics, wanting to make social media posts, any kind of graphic design stuff that you do, if you want to make any kind of do any desktop publishing, so 3-fold leaflets, pamphlets, cards, all of that stuff, that's all in there. And it is, you know, a game changer in education. So my job, as Julia pointed out, is I'm an education evangelist for Adobe, and that's all that means, is that I work for Adobe now, but I was a teacher before I started working with Adobe. So I spent 17 years at a secondary school in South Wales, responsible for digital skills across the curriculum. And before Express, I'm sure you're all familiar with kind of the options that we would have had in schools. You know, you'd be using things like maybe Publisher, PowerPoint, and trying to do graphic design work with those. And once we got our hands on Express, it totally changed the game. The fact that it's all done through the browser, and then all of the kind of really high quality images and graphics and design assets and different textures and layers you can build up. It's just a fun way to be creative. So you got that. The orange tile then is the video editor. So if you want to do any kind of video editing, it's online, it's on the browser. You don't have to download any apps. You don't need to download video clips, because you've got all of the Adobe stock images and stock video clips built into the app, free for you to use. You can just search and add them in, and they're filtered for educational use as well. Right, so today we're looking at web pages and digital portfolios. So we'll start off with web pages, and then really we'll just apply those skills in a different way when we're looking at digital portfolios. Okay, so the purple tile is to build a web page. Now, sometimes you can be thinking, well, what kind of use case would I have for a web page? And one really nice example that we've got that schools like using is to use a web page as a way to share learners' extended writing. Okay, so I've got a piece of extended writing here on this tab by this boy in my class. Okay, all about saving electricity. Now, if you'd like to kind of play along when we're doing this, or maybe if you want to just do it at a later time, that exact Word doc is here for you. Okay, so if you want to just jump onto that Word doc, Google Doc actually, then if you just type in bit.ly/template energy as one word, bit.ly/template energy, I'll pop that in the chat as well. Then that'll just bring you to this piece of writing. Okay, so this piece of writing, we can imagine that it's in the learners' kind of digital files. They've done it on Google Docs, or maybe they've handwritten it in their exercise book. You've been learning about electricity, renewable energy, etc. And it's what Dom created. My colleague Dom, he's got these 200-word challenges. So basically, it's you've been learning about a topic, and then you've got 4 kind of open-ended questions, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if your learners give a kind of good paragraph, a good chunky paragraph of an answer for each one of those 4 questions, they'll have written about 200 words. So it's the 200-word challenge. So, okay, that's there. That learner's worked really hard to put that together. So where do we go from there? Let me just pop this link in the chat for you so you don't have to type it out. There we go. That's up there in the chat for you. Okay, if you want to open this up, then feel free to click on that link, or just save it for later if you're just kind of watching along. Okay, so we've got this extended piece of writing. My learner's worked really hard to do this, and it's just going to sit there in his exercise book or in his OneDrive or in his Google Drive and not do anything. Okay, so why not turn that into a web page so that we've got it in a form which can be shared and that makes it look really impressive, takes it to another level without adding a load of time. You don't want this to take 3 lessons to make a web page out of something that you wrote in 1 lesson. Okay, so on Express, I'm going to click on the purple tile that says build a web page. Okay, that's going to open up the web page editor in Express. Now, you do have these templates. You could start off with templates, but for today, I'm just going to go with starting from scratch, okay, just to show you how easy it is to start from nothing. So at the bottom right hand corner, we've got the create from scratch button there. Okay, so when you click on that, here we go, we are creating a web page. Right, well, let's see how simple it is to take this and turn it into a professional looking web page. Okay, so what's the title going to be for my web page? Well, Chris has already written it for me. It's here. How can we save electricity? Okay, so that's the title of his piece of written work. So it can be the title for my web page as well. So I'll just Control-C, copy that, come over to Express where it says add a title, Control-V, there we go. And what's the subtitle going to be? Well, how about the student's name? There we go, I'll copy that and I'll pop that in as a subtitle. Cool. So far, this is really easy, but it's not really shouting at me about saving electricity. So this big grey rectangle that we've got as the background to this header, let's add an image. So you can see right at the bottom of my screen, we've got this little dot with a plus sign in it. If I click on that, I can add a photo to this header, to this cover. Now, on the left-hand side, it opens up the image search that you've got within the main editor in Express. So this is hundreds of thousands of high-quality Adobe stock photos and images filtered for educational use that you can use for free. Okay, so I'm going to click in here and I'm going to search for, I could search for just energy or energy like that. That's going to give me 8,174 results. So I could search for electricity, 3,252. What about save electricity? So, you could just scroll through, or you can refine your search. And this is something, that we want to be teaching our learners about. It's, how do you search better for things in order to get the results that you want? Again, here you could be teaching them about the fact that this is going to be a background image to this text. So something really busy like this maybe wouldn't be great here. You want something that's got plenty of kind of space, maybe something like this, for the text, because the text is more important than the image on this header. Once you've chosen your image, you can see it just adds it straight away to the background. Now, it looks really pixelated there. The reason it does that is that it instantly throws up a low-res image so that you can carry on working. And in the background, whilst you carry on working, it'll actually then replace that with the high-res image once it's kind of trickled it up to the app. Okay, so it basically doesn't stop you from working. It puts up a low-res image super quick, and then you can carry on working, and then in the background, it'll replace it with a high-res image. As you maybe you just saw a kind of flick there from the low-res to the high-res. Cool. Right. We can also do some really basic formatting with our text by using the themes. Up on the top ribbon, you'll see this magic wand icon. And you click on that, it opens the theme panel. Now, you've got a limited set of themes here. And this is the opposite of using the graphic design editor. So when you're using the graphic design editor, you can spend ages just browsing fonts and adding outlines to fonts and choosing font colors and outline colors and shadows and all of that. But when you're building a web page, you don't want to get bogged down with that. You want to be able to kind of just compile all this stuff onto a web page and be done with it. So we've got these themes put together. And when you choose a theme, it chooses a font, it chooses colors, it chooses all of that stuff, and it all kind of comes bundled together. If you really want to dig in and set up your own themes, you can, right up the top. You can create your own. But it's something that I've done a few times on my own personal kind of stuff. But with learners in class, I never get them to make their own themes. Unless I'm working with older learners in secondary and you want to really kind of teach them about kind of CSS and all of that, then it's a good jumping off point. But with most learners, I would just stick to these preset themes, choose one that you think suits your page best, and move on with your life. Right? Okay. So I've got my header, I've got my subtitle, I've got the image in the background, I've chosen theme. Okay, what happens next? Well, you can see here it says scroll to start writing your story. So if I scroll down, it'll pop up this little window and it says, right, what do I want to add to my web page? And, you've got these options which pretty much speak for themselves. If I wanted a big picture, big photo, I could put that in. If I wanted a big piece of text, I could put that in. A button to link to another website, I could do that. I could add some animated GIFs. I could add a video, embed a video from YouTube, Vimeo, or a video I've made in Express even. That's great. Photo grids, glide shows, split layouts, and so on. So let's have a look at split layouts because this is one that I find really handy. So I'm going to click on split layout. And as you predict, it's going to split my page in two. And what I've got is on the left-hand side, I can just have one big image. And then on the right-hand side, I've got this kind of flexible card, which again, I can click on this plus, and I've got these options of things that I can add. And I can mix and match these within this side of the split layout as well. So let's start off with some text. So I'm going to click on text, and I'm going to jump over here to my doc. And here's my first one. What is electricity? And then I've got Chris's answer here. So let's just copy all of that. Okay, so the question and Chris's answer. Control C, copy. Back I go to my web page, and here I'm just going to paste that in. Okay, so I chose text and pasted it in. Cool. Right, an image on the left-hand side. If I click on add your image here, it's going to just open up the same panel we saw just now. Maybe I'll just go with electricity on its own this time rather than save electricity. And yeah, I like these pylons. Not that I usually love pylons, but they're good for this use case. Right. Okay. Now then, formatting text again. What are my options? Because this, what is electricity? This question is kind of like a title. It feels like this should look a bit different to the answer. So when I click on this piece of text, it gives me this kind of pop-up box here, and I can do some really simple formatting with it. Bold, italic is familiar to us all, and we can do left, center, and right align. But these are interesting. Basically, header 1, header 2, and block quote. So when you pick a theme for your web page, like the one that I picked, it'll have its own preset formatted header 1, header 2, and block quote. Okay, and if you don't like any of them and you'd prefer it to look like it did at the beginning, just click on whichever one is selected to deselect it, and then it goes back to normal. So I quite like that header 1. I think that big text looks great there. Maybe I'll center it as well for the question. That's great. And then for this, I'm quite happy with that. That's great. But maybe I want to call out something important. Now, I could just bold a certain bit, or maybe I want to separate out this last sentence, and maybe I'm going to format that as a quote, or maybe as a header too. Yeah, I quite like that quote. I think that looks good. Okay, so we can just do some really quick basic formatting with our text. But as you can see, I can't get bogged down with choosing a font size, all of that stuff. So it does kind of force you to be agile and work quickly. Right, that's our first section done. Let's scroll down. And as it did at the beginning, it's kind of showing me this same pop-up thing. Right, what do you want to add next? Well, why don't we add another split layout? Let's pop another one in there. And this time you can see it's switched it around. So this time the image is on the right and our kind of flexible card is on the left. So let's go and grab our text. So our next one, what do you use electricity for and why? Okay, so let's just, here we go. Copy that. And I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to click on the plus, text, Control V, paste that in. And now it's an important thing to teach our learners that if you're using any kind of text formatting, you want to be consistent. If the question was header 1 on this split layout, you want it to be header 1 on this split layout as well. And maybe I want that final kind of thought on each one to be in this block quote. Cool. So this is all about using energy in our houses and devices. So let's just go to add your image here, and I'm going to search for just devices. I think it'll be fine. Or electronic devices. Maybe I'll search for that. Yeah, cool. Perfect. 2,500 results for that. And you can scroll through to your heart's content and pick something that kind of matches up with the mood that you want. I think there was some good ones right at the top, actually. Yeah, that one was good. Cool. Right. So you can see already that we're building this up, and the skills we've used so far and the time we've spent is quite small. You know, we're kind of blasting through it really, but it is really taking Chris's piece of written work to the next level, and it's presenting it in a really nice and interesting way. Okay. Now then, let's look at something else that you can do. So I could, of course, just carry on and just do split layout, and I'm done. Okay, but let's just use these next two to talk about a glide show, which is kind of a bit of a posher thing that we can add in, but it's a really nice touch. So we've got the next two are renewable and then reduce electricity usage. Okay. So for those two, I'm going to use a glide show for both. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down as if I'm going to add my next section. And instead of a split layout this time, I'm going to add a glide show. Now, a glide show is a photo slideshow where you've got photos kind of blending into each other, animating into each other. But then you can have cards with text or images or videos or whatever floating above them. Okay, and it's a different way of presenting information to a split layout, and it just mixes things up a bit. So I'm going to go for a glide show this time. Now, when you're creating a glide show, you actually start with the images first. You decide first what your images are going to be before you go on to add the information. Right, so my first image on the glide show was going to be this about renewable energy, right? So let's search for renewable energy in here and build up my glide show. Renewable energy. There we go. And we got loads of options here. Nearly 1,500 images. And they're all great. I think I'll go with this one. It's fine. Good. And then my next one then was going to be this. How could you reduce your electricity usage at home? Right. So let's go for save electricity. Let's try that again. Yeah, this kind of unplug, switch off kind of message. There we go, something like that. Right. Okay, so those are going to be the backgrounds for my next two pieces of text, and they're going to be a glide show. So once you've finished choosing your images, and I've got 2 images that I want, but you could add more if you wanted. You then click save, and it takes you back to your web page. Okay, so I'm going to click save in the top right, and back I go to my web page. Here we go. Now, when I scroll back up, you'll see, here we go. Here are my, I'll go right back to the top. Here's my header, and here's my first split layout. Here's my second split layout. And then here we go. Now this looks different, right? So my image is full screen. And as I scroll, you see this kind of little card scrolls up. And as I keep scrolling, that first image melts, it blends into that second image. There we go. And then another card will appear. Okay, so what can we do with these cards? Well, these cards behave exactly the same as the this side of a split layout. Okay, so when I click on a card, I can, let's grab that text, which is the first one here. Why is it important to generate electricity? Here we go. I'll just do the same as I did with my first 2 sections, copy that, back over to the card, click on the plus, this is text, paste it in, and we can do the same thing. We can format this as header 1, center it, and then what should we go for? I don't think I need that kind of quote thing on this because it's a shorter piece of text. The card can stay on the left, or you can drag it and it can go either left, center, or right. So I think center works well for this one. And let's just keep scrolling down. There we go. And here's my next card. So let's grab this piece of text here. Copy. Okie dokie, and paste that in. Do the same, format that up. Lovely. And then I think this is good. Act now and make a difference. And I'll keep this on the left because I don't want to hide that image on the right-hand side. All right, and you can see now how that split layout behaves differently to the other sections. Now, that's basically it with building web pages. But we do also have some examples here of videos and web pages that people may find interesting. So if I just open this this save energy video up in YouTube, okay, on YouTube. Okay, so here we go. It's here. Now, how can we put that into our web page in a professional way? Well, let's just grab the YouTube link. So copy the link. And this is all about saving energy. So I think it would work well on this final card. Okay. So why not pop it maybe between this piece of text and this final piece of text? So I'm going to click on any of these pluses is fine. Plus, video, paste in here, save. And there we go. You've embedded that YouTube video into that part of your web page. Now you could have a full screen video if you wanted. If you just embed it on its own, so not on a glide show, not on a split layout. If you just use video, you see it'll embed it as a kind of a not quite full screen, but as a larger video like that. They can also go in. Now you wouldn't put the same video everywhere on the web page, obviously, but you can also pop them into split layouts like this. Okay, so anywhere that you see a plus, oops, didn't paste it in. Anywhere you see a plus, there we go, you can add, embed a video really quickly, as you can see there. What if you want to talk about other web pages? What if you want to link to other web pages? So, for example, on Chris's doc, he's got links to this BBT bite size. Let's just open it up. Here we go. Key point about electricity. Well, let's just copy that link. Okay, and maybe on that first bit where you're talking about what is electricity, let's just, where should we put it? Right here. Click on the plus, add a button, and paste in the link. Button text is bite size article about electricity. There we go. And I'm going to center that, I think. Click save, and there it is. That's now a fully working button that links out to another web page. You may notice that I haven't actually saved, extreme zooming. I haven't saved anything at all yet. It's just got this untitled title up here. Now, Express is always saving everything you do all of the time. Okay, even if you haven't named it, it's been saving everything I've been doing all along. So if I was working on a Chromebook and I lost internet connection, or the battery was flat, or some of the disaster happened, it's absolutely fine. The next time I log into Express on the same device or on a different device, this web page would be there in my recents, waiting for me to click on it and pick up where I left off. Okay. Saying that, it's really good practice to give your projects names other than untitled. Otherwise, your folder of projects it becomes quite confusing. So this I'm going to call energy saving web page Jan 25. Okay, so that's all saved. Lovely, done. We've looked at the basics of adding text and images, choosing themes. We've looked at split layouts. We've looked at glide shows, and we've looked at the kind of more advanced techniques of embedding videos and adding buttons to external sites. Now, this is all well and good, but what can we do with this? Now, what you've made here is a responsive web page. So it doesn't matter how this is viewed. If this is viewed on a browser, it'll look like it looks here. But if you send this web page to somebody and they open it up on their phone, let's see how that'll look. So if I click on this preview button, it actually shows it to us as if it were on the internet. Okay, published on the internet. And you can see I can resize this. There you go. I can resize this. And if I scroll down, this is kind of the view that somebody on a phone would have. And you can see that the split layout behaves in a totally different way now. It's put the image above the text rather than side by side to make it more accessible and responsive. Okay. So maybe you're thinking, well, this is all great. How do I actually share it in a way that parents and other people can see my kids' work? Well, if you want to publish this on the internet, let's just get out of the preview by clicking on this X. If you want to publish this to the internet, that's all you need to do is click on the share button, top right, publish to web. And here it'll also automatically add credits in for any of the images that you've used. Okay, again, it's a really good teaching moment there, talking about copyright and crediting, giving credit for any images. If you've uploaded any of your own images, you can add them in there. You can add to the credits here. But once you're done, you can click Create Link. If you'd rather this to be password protected, then you can add a password protection to the web page there. If not, just click Create Link, and that's publishing that right now to the internet. Now, it's not searchable, okay? So, if you're a bit worried about your learners' work kind of being searchable on search engines, don't worry about that. It's not. So it's only accessible with, if somebody's got the URL. But if I copy that, then that's going to be published, and anybody with that link then can see this published web page. Okay. What's the easiest way to share web pages with your school community? It's probably a QR code, right? So we've got QR codes built into Express. So if I just copy that web page, I would get my learners to make their own QR codes, to be honest. I get them all to make their own ones, print them out, stick them in their books, okay? So you get them to make their web pages, get them to publish their web pages, get them to copy the link, come back to the Express homepage by clicking on the Express icon, top left-hand corner, and then to create their own QR codes, that's all they need to do is click on the big dot with a plus on the top left-hand corner, and under Quick Actions, generate a QR code, paste in the link, and download it, print it out, stick it in their book. Okay? So, I know so many teachers that spend hours making, 30 QR codes and printing them all out, sticking them all in their learners' books. So, get your kids to do that and get a bit of time back. Okay, that's building a web page, super quick. If anybody's got any questions, please throw them in the chat. I've got the chat open here. I can see it. So if you've got any questions, please fire away. If you want me to go over anything there again, just pop it in the chat, or unmute your mic if you want to shout at me. That's absolutely fine as well. So hopefully you can see how kind of simple that process is. The whole idea with that is that you don't spend 3-4 lessons making a web page. That is something that you can do really quickly to enhance a finished piece of work. You've got this finished piece of written work. Hey, wouldn't it be really nice if we shared that as a web page? Now, a lot of teachers would say yes, but I don't really want to spend, a few lessons on that. So the fact that the web page builder in Express is so simple to use kind of makes you work faster within it. Okay, right. Well, there's no questions coming in. So the next thing we're going to do is just have a look at digital portfolios. Okay, now there's two kind of ways that we can look at digital portfolios, really, isn't there? There's a student using it to create a portfolio of their own work. And then there's also the option of a teacher using it to create a portfolio of their entire class's work. Okay, so you kind of got two options there, but it's the same skills that apply. Now, you saw there how easy it is to add images that you search for, but you can also add in stuff that you've made within Express, okay, which is a really powerful way to create a portfolio of your own work. So let's have a look at that. Let's imagine that a learner wants to put together a portfolio of, all of the things they've done in Express, and it could be from other, we could have buttons there linking to other, to Google Docs or to PowerPoint or whatever as well. But it definitely is more streamlined if you've got this stuff made in Express as well, as we're about to see. Okay, so I mean, I haven't really got a kind of cohesive set of things here. If I go into my stuff here, and if you're new to Express, when your learners are doing anything in Express, all of their work is saved in there, your stuff on the left hand side. So I mean, I've got a lot of really random stuff in here. Oh, I do have my Christmas stuff. So I've got some Christmas jumpers, and I've got, yeah, I could do this. This could work. So I could do a Christmassy kind of thing, portfolio. Now, this is a great way as well of getting your learners to evaluate your work. Question here, Jim, could buttons link to other parts of the site? Now, there is a way of using a button as an anchor link, but it is a bit convoluted. So the short answer is yes, but the real answer really is, I suppose, not really, because it's a bit of a faff. You could definitely use it to link to other web pages, of course. So you as a teacher could get all your learners to make a web page, and then you could create a portfolio with buttons to each one of your learners' web pages, and use that as a central way of saying, here are our class's web pages. And then, you just need one QR code then to come to your central kind of portfolio, and then you've got a button there with every student's name on it, and when that's clicked, it opens up their web pages. So you can kind of use buttons definitely to link to other pages, but using it to link within the same page, it's easier to say no than yes, although it is technically possible. Thinking the first part could be a list of titles for profile pages, for example, literacy, numeracy, etc. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So I think what I would do then, Jim, is have that first part as actually as a separate web page that then links to those different web pages. Fiona, can you have different tabs on the website? So like a multi-page web page? No. So that's a question that we get loads. So it's intentionally been kept as a single page web page in order to keep it simpler. But it is something that we've had, it's probably the most requested thing in the web page editor is to make it multi-page. Which, if you're familiar with Google Sites, then I suppose a lot of what you've seen today kind of resonates with how Google Sites works. You know, things are a bit different, but it's the same kind of idea. But Google Sites, of course, is multi-page. But the people that build Express kind of decided that that adds a level of complexity that maybe is going to slow people down. So the idea of this is definitely, yes, exactly, yeah. If you wanted a kind of multi-page thing, then I'd look at Google Sites for that, personally, unless you think it would work as a scrolling one-page website. Because a lot of websites, kind of web design at the moment is moving more towards kind of single page. I'm sure you've seen that, and maybe where the nav bar, as Jim said, when you click on it, it just kind of scrolls down to that point of the page, rather than having actual separate pages. But yeah, exactly. If you want a multi-page thing, maybe Google Sites is a better place for you. Jim, QR code or link to Google Sites from the Adobe. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Once you've got, you know, that the ability to put a button in, I mean, you know, you can create links to wherever you want, really. Definitely, and you can mix and match as you see fit. Okay, right. Let's have a look at this digital portfolio idea then. Okay, so I've got some Christmas stuff that I made. And I maybe as a student, I'm putting myself in the student's shoes here. Can I? What am I doing here? Here we go. Can I make a portfolio putting all of my Christmassy things together? Nobody wants to see Christmassy stuff right now, and I'm really aware of that. But that's kind of what I've got a set of stuff for. So bear with me. Right. So let's go back to build a web page. Let's see how easy this is. Okay. Again, I'm going to create from scratch, and I'll just put in here my Christmas portfolio. Okay. I thought I was done with Christmas. I can't believe I'm about to search for Christmas in here. I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, this in January feels like madness. Right, here we go. So I've got this. Lovely. Let's grab a theme. Okay. I mean, this whimsical storybook theme is going to work nicely for my Christmas thing, isn't it? Yeah. There we go. Great. So now then, how are we going to bring in my stuff? Okay. Well, when you scroll down, there's actually a section that says your stuff. Okay. So if I click on your stuff here, then I can browse all of my recent files. It'll open up my recent files. You saw those just now. Here's my festive jumper that I made 20 days ago. Click on that. Yeah, I want to add that in. Thanks very much. Add as an image. And there it is. Okay. Now, that's how easy it is to bring stuff in. But what's the powerful bit of this? Well, this is the powerful bit, is that you can use this to get your students to evaluate their work as well. So that, you know, this text underneath here, you could tell them, right, underneath each part that you bring in, could you tell me what's your favorite bit about it, what you do differently if you're doing it again, and what was the favorite skill you used whilst you're doing that. And they can add their text, type it in, and you're away. And then you can just go and go back to your stuff, and let's grab my cookies this time. And it's going to pop it in. Okay, so you can bring in your images, you can bring in your animations, you can bring in drawings that you've done. So Express, if you don't know, has got a really amazing drawing editor. So if you want to do any painting, digital painting, then Express is a great place to do that. I'm trying to find one of my recent drawings now. Oh yeah, we made that tartan. That was cool. Where's my space stuff? Where's my space drawing? Here we go. So on a space drawing. Yeah. So here's a scroll through all the crazy stuff I've made in Express. Anyway, so you just bring them in and you can evaluate them. Here we go. I think that was a drawing. It was a random one, but there we go. Bring it in, evaluate them, and share them in the same way. So it's a great way to build up a digital portfolio. You could do them like this, where they're full screen, which I think is quite nice when you're making a portfolio. Or again, you could be using split layouts, which works really well as well. If you got things that you made on other apps, so say that you made, I don't know, an image on some different app, then you can always just upload a photo. Okay, so just go to whatever app you made it in, download it and as an image, and then upload it back to here. Videos, okay, from Express, they're in there, or if you've got anything on YouTube or on Vimeo, that'll go in there as well. And then, yeah, and then finally, you've got buttons as well. So say that you've got stuff on Google Docs or, you know, other places, there's buttons. So it's a really easy way to just compile all of your stuff together. And if they're videos, they'll play right here. And obviously, if they're images, then it'll be displayed nicely like this. So as you can see, you could apply that exact same set of skills, get your students to make their own portfolios, or you could collect, you'd need to collect their published links from them. Okay, you'd need to collect those from them and build up a portfolio. Saying that, it isn't launched right now, but maybe you've noticed that you've got the Classrooms button on the left-hand side. That's coming really soon to us here in the UK. And in Classrooms, you'd be able to see basically a gallery view of all of your kids' work, and that'll be a really easy way then for you to kind of collate a class portfolio together. Okay, we're at time. So if you've got any questions, please fire them into the chat. Now then, if you want to have a go at that energy one, the link is there on the screen for you, bit.ly/template energy. I want to talk about this second link as well, Express links. So if you would like to try Express with your class and you're new to it, then why not let me and Dom or one of the team teach your class for you? So we run live lessons every single week on calendar events. Okay, so I'll put this in the chat for you, one-stop shop. So if you open up the one-stop shop and click through to the live lessons, I'll open that up for you now, bit.ly/Adobe Leaders. Okay, it'll bring you to here. And this is us up to half term, okay? So this is us up to the end of February. And these are all of the live lessons that we've got going on between now and the end of February, okay? So, for example, this Thursday, we're doing a New Year's resolutions live lessons. So what you do is you get your class all logged into Express. You get the live stream up on the whiteboard, turn the speakers on, and then we will teach the lesson. They run from 1:30 till 2:45 in the afternoon. There's 2 activities on each live lesson. So some people just come along for the first one and drop off if they don't want to do the whole 75 minutes. Yeah, so New Year's resolutions, and then next week it's Energy Saving Week. Then we've got Burns Night specials. We've got St. Dwyn Wednesday, which is the Welsh Valentine's Day. If you want to learn something about Welsh culture, you can come along to that. We've got Holocaust Remembrance Day then at the end of January, and then into February, Children's Mental Health Week, Welsh Language Music Day, Safe for Internet Day is a massive one. We've got 2 of those. We're doing it on the Monday and the Tuesday. Science Week in Northern Ireland. I think you guys are off on half term that week, if I recall. Then we've got Cyber Week Scotland. That's specially for you. St. David's Day, World Book Day is just a huge event. And so we've got 2 of those on. So that takes you up basically to kind of just past our half term then, really. Okay, so you can come along to those and let us teach you kids. And we'll do a mixture of things. Sometimes we'll do web pages, sometimes we'll do graphic design, video editing, animation, drawing. We just kind of goes around all of the skills really that we've got in Express. So come along to those. And finally, if you've got any questions at all after this, then feel free to drop me an email. It's meredudd@adobe.com. And I'll pop that into the chat as well. Okay, I'm going to be quiet now. If you've got any questions, please pop them into the chat. But if not, thanks very much for your time. I hope it's been useful to you.